Hey guys, today's video is should I buy a Kia Soul? Not me, because I already bought one, right? But this video is to address the many comments in that video with all these common concerns, right? So I will tell you, right? I bought a 2024 Kia Soul brand new from the Kia dealership, all right? Now, one of the first questions that came up in the other video was like, hey, Danny the Medic, why don't you just buy a used one? Well, I'll tell you, right? When it comes to used cars, either you buy a very reliable one or you are a mechanic, because used cars is a big unknown, right? You don't know if that car's been driven by an asshole, and you know what I mean by asshole, right? The people that zooms on right by you, only to come to a screeching halt at the red light that you already saw coming, it's 45 miles per hour. You're going down, oh, that light's red. You just stay off the gas and then you go at maybe like 40, 35, 38, and then you slowly slow down to the red light, because it's like, what's the point? You're gonna wear out your engine, you're gonna wear out your transmission, you're gonna wear out your brakes. It's like you should drive in harmony with the traffic pattern. A lot of people do that, but there are assholes out there. You're gonna zoo, all that. It's like, what are you doing? Even if you have to take a shit real bad, just get off the road and take a shit on the side of the road. What are you rushing for? Causing an accident and everything. Terrible, right? So there are assholes out there, right? And the thing is, depending on what car you get, let's say you get yourself a nice regular Toyota with automatic transmission, a good sizable big engine, and it hasn't been used too badly, you can, depend on something like that most of the time. But the thing is, Kia Souls, oh my goodness, guys, there were a couple of big issues, right? One is that they put in a transmission type known as a CVT, continuously variable or something like that. And those things, my goodness, guys, they're fragile, like those things break, according to what I've read. I look, all I'm telling you is what I learned myself from looking on the internet. I didn't own a fleet of Kia Souls and I'm telling you from my experience. No, nothing like that. Of course not, But I have learned that the CVTs are weak. And oh my goodness, guys, right? The thing is, it's like if you put too much stress on it, those things break down, right? And not right away, too. They'll break at the end of the warranty period. It's just pretty bad, because like the warranties, and the recommendation, the maintenance and the intervals and everything, corporate, whatever, they just want to make sure that the cost lasts until the warranty is over. That's all they care about. I mean, it's a business, If it breaks after the warranty period, that's why they have a warranty period, It's like, hey, we guarantee it'll be fine for this long. And that's it, But we as the consumer, we want it to last as long as possible. Double, triple the warranty period. Wouldn't that be nice, guys? Right. So not buying used, right? The CVT transmissions, if it's been driven by a grandma, and not the crazy grandmas, a regular grandma, nice and slow, easy on the braking, easy on the acceleration, all the time, you can get maybe a Kia Soul that has like 40,000 miles on it, 50,000 miles, and then right away you change out the transmission fluid, and then you keep on going. But because it's used, we don't know these things. And so what if grandma is trying to sell you her Kia Soul? She'll be like, "Oh, come over for milk and cookies. Here's your milk and cookies." Oh, that's my Kia Soul. Oh, I only had it for like 3 years and whatever. And, oh yeah, now I got cataracts and then oh, or maybe the doctor says I'm no longer able to drive. I take Uber every day, and I'm getting rid of my car because I don't need it. You don't know that maybe the grandson borrows it every night, for the drag racing and donutting and everything. We don't know these things, guys. When it comes to used, all you know is like mileage and time, right? You look at it. It's they don't even have dipstick. What the heck's going on there for the transmission, right? So CVT transmission, we don't know these things, right? Now, uh, Kia, right? According to what I found on the internet, I did not have a fleet of them over the years, right? The engines suck, right? They had like engines that were blowing up, as per my research. Engines that burn a lot of oil. The blowing up ones, I believe, are the ones that they said were made in some American factory and they did it wrong, and there's lawsuits going on, right? And then so that's that, right? So so from what I took from that was to do not buy a Kia Soul with the engine built in America, So that's what I learned from that, right? Then they have the oil burning issue, right? As it turns out, that if you go buy a Kia that's a couple of years old, they have an engine that is what's known as the gasoline direct inject. That means you got a cylinder. Instead of the gasoline coming in along with the air through the valve, it gets injected right into the cylinder. And according to what I found, that is pretty bad, guys. I mean, it's great for EPA and whatever, but it is pretty bad because according to what I've read, that kind of hits the wall of the cylinder, and then it does something to the oil, and then it makes the oil over time not as good as it can be, and then like it'll flood the oil with gasoline, or it would make the engine less lubricated, and thus if you don't change out the oil a lot, well, it'll wear down the engine, right? And once the engine is worn down, there are like tolerances and stuff, right? If the tolerance gets too big, then it'll start to burn oil because the oil will seep through. Well, a lot more than it should be, right? Obviously it needs some oil, but then more oil and it ends up burning the oil that already is weakened because it gets mixed in with the gasoline, right? They say you should pull the dipstick out, and if the engine oil smells like gasoline, that's not right, And then so, believe it or not, I looked at my Kia's owner manual, and they got two maintenance schedules. One is like change the oil every 8,000 miles, and I'm like 8,000 miles. That's pretty excessive, I mean like that's a lot of miles, right? Conventional, over all these years, 4,000 miles, 5,000 miles, change the oil, right? But they have the normal maintenance schedule and the severe maintenance schedule, right? And then they shouldn't name it that, right? Because you're thinking like, oh, I'm a normal driver. I'm not a racetrack driver. I'm not going up the mountain or whatever, off-roading. And, so I'm a normal driver, right? I just go to work or go to school, go get something to eat. And I go home. I'm a normal person. But that's not what they mean, guys. Normal to them is the person that gets in the car, drives 100 miles on the highway to get to where they're going, and they stop, do the same thing, come back home, right? That's to them is normal. To me, that's abnormal. Who works 100 miles away? That's ridiculous, right? So to them, the extreme or severe category is people who do a lot of like short trips, stop and go, low speed traffic, like city driving. Like to me, that's normal. Hey, I gotta go pick up something from the Walmart. Let me go get into the car. You start it up, drive 7 miles to the Walmart and stop and go traffic, red and green lights. You know, you gotta deal with some of the assholes that come, woo, you know, and they kind of come to a stop and start again. You know, so to me, that's normal living. You know, that's normal living of life, of which is their severe category, in which then they recommend what you should have been doing all along, which is change the oil, something like whatever the case may be, like half the interval, like 4,000 miles 6 months, 5,000 miles 6 months, whatever it says, and to change out the fluid in the CVT every like 40,000 miles or something like that, right? Or sooner, you know, because that is treating the engine and transmission roughly. So gasoline direct injected engines suck balls, right? All these like Scotty Kilmer got a video out to say why Kia's a crap, you know, and then that's because people, you know, they either don't read the manual or they read it and they fail to comprehend what it's trying to say. Maybe they just browse through it. Oh yeah, I skimmed through it. I know what's going on. No, you got to read the whole thing. With anything, like I'm telling you, I'm an EMS instructor, right? And then when it comes to our textbook, there are people who believe that, oh, that's just a textbook. You know, you don't do things the way by the book. You know, no, that book is written by hundreds of experts on the subject. You should read that book like 5 times at a minimum, just to make sure you read the whole thing, not just read it once. And people don't even touch the book. I go look around the classroom and see the book, the newest, nicest looking thing. Only if they can keep the cars that new looking. You know, I was like, have you even read that book? Oh, yeah. I'm looking at it, you know, brand spanking new, no fingerprints in it or whatever. It's like, oh, come on. People, man, people. All right, so what was I saying? All right, so yeah, right? Different maintenance schedules, right? You should file, like you should do it according to what you're trying to drive, how you're trying to drive. Do that type of you know maintenance schedule, right? But people don't, you know, they hear 8,000 mile. Oh, okay, they change it to 8,000 mile. Next thing you know, the engine's burning oil. That suck balls. All right, so good news, right? Now, if they were still putting the gasoline direct injection engines in the Kias, I wouldn't have bought it, right? It does come with a CVT, and the engines now are port injection, right, which is better. You know, none of the nonsense. And the thing is, right, you know, but it's still a CVT, but I'm buying it new, right? So at most, an asshole test driven it for like a mile or so, you know, but you know, a couple of miles of assholeness doesn't destroy a CVT. It takes a long time, right? So I know that I'm going to be driving it like a grandma. Well, most of the time. Take it easy because I know it's a CVT. You gotta take it easy on that stuff. You know, so I've been driving it, you know. So that was when I went to buy it, I said, okay, this is the type of car that you can't drive like an asshole. Not that I would anyway. Right? You gotta drive it like a grandma. You know, and I'm okay with that. It's that type of car. You know, so that's what I've been doing. Now, see, another big Kia issue, right? It's because the Kias have been stolen recently a lot on social media because of a trend, and Hyundai's also because of a lack of a certain anti-theft feature that they left out of the basic models, you know? So basically, in the social media videos, right, they rip open the ignition column thingy, they take it off, they take like something like a USB plug that happens to be a good size to turn the thing. They turn the thing, it starts the engine, and they drive off with your Kia, right? A lot of these Kia owners find that it was just joyriding by teenagers who like watch the TikTok, and then they'll get it back, but then they gotta pay to fix the column, pay to fix the broken glass, or whatever the case may be, you know. And because of all these thefts, right, the insurance companies I've read that they don't want to insure Kia and Hyundais, you know, and then so that, you know, listening to that statement, you're like, oh my God, you know, I shouldn't buy a Kia or a Hyundai because that's going to happen. I'm not going to be able to get insurance for it, or insurance is going to be very expensive. But it's gotta be specific, because the Kia I got comes with immobilizer. It comes with a different start system. It's the push button start. And once it starts, it compares the little keychain that you have, the code in it, make sure it's a active one before it can start the car and let you drive off. So, so that is no longer a concern, except for maybe these crazy teenagers would be like, oh, look, there's a Kia. Smash your window, open the door, and then they go, oh, it's not the type that is on TikTok. Boo. Then they walk away, leaving you with some damage. So as it appears, the top concerns that I've read about on the internet, it's been fixed, for the latest, Kia Soul model I picked up, and so far it's been over 1,000 miles driven, and it's perfectly fine. Air conditioning's running cold and everything. I get to where I'm going. I drive conservatively, not like an asshole, And then I think it's gonna last, guys. I plan to change the oil at maybe 3,000 miles because it's the first oil change. I'll change it at 3,000 miles. Then I'll change it maybe every 4,000 miles after that. Oil changes are cheap compared to fixing or replacing your engine. Now I know it's a 100,000 mile warranty. Oh, it's a 100,000 mile warranty for the powertrain. Maybe you don't have to, right? But the thing is, it's already been 1,000 miles, right? In 10 years, it'll be, I don't know, eventually it's going to reach 100,000 miles, right? The condition of the engine then depends on how often you change the oil and how you use the car. So yeah, I'm a cheap SOB. I want that sucker to last, get my money's worth. So you gotta, drive it accordingly. If you want to be an asshole, go buy a sports car, with big tires, big thick tires, huge engine, and then you can vroom, 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 all you want. But don't do it to an economy car. It's not made for that. Anyway, so that's it. Very happy with my Kia. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.